Close. Nothing. Okay, no big deal. You're sending them to my phone? Well, truth is, I would like to just get better at this stuff. But, I mean, that's just me. If I go here, what can I see? If I go there... Yeah, well, there you have it. Truth is, I would like to just get better at this stuff. Okay. I mean, that's just me. Now I can see myself being live, which is great. I just turn off this audio so it doesn't do an echo. All right, this is it. We're going to try this. See if I can figure this out. There's only one way to get better at these things. And that is by endlessly never giving up. And that is the spirit that we're doing today. For sure. Got my list of questions. And I got my list of topics. So, this might get interesting. Sit back for it. And I hope you're enjoying the ride so far. I will start off with, has Japan changed for the better or worse since the 1990s? Wow. That's quite the question, honey. That's really quite the question. Has Japan changed for the better or worse since the 1990s? My gosh. It has changed for the better for me, for sure, because I used to have a shaved head and live in a dorm. But that's just personal stuff. Okay. Do and can I see the comments? Yes.
3 topics.
3 topics. Okay.
Someone says, I can hear your camera lens autofocus.
Yeah, that's the problem. So I literally bought exactly the same camera for this one and this one. And look at this. Low, let's focus. Come on. There you go. And it's not operating in the same way. It's got the same firmware. I already tested that out. The thing is, it's got a different lens on it. So I might have to figure out how to change the lenses, which is fine. The other topics that I have to talk about today are the evolution of Japanese society. Just for fun. Yeah. And then living in Japan for 30 years, my biggest culture shocks. These are the 3 things that I'll be playing around with while figuring out if this actually works. So what I really want to do is I want to be able to figure out how these cameras and the switcher, which is the ATEM Mini Pro, by the way, works out, and so that I can do more live streams from all around the world and use it to interview the legends and just hang out with my wife on screen, basically. It's going to be a lot of fun if I can figure this out. And you know what? It's going to happen. Don't worry. Don't worry. All right. Just checking in. Let's see. Hello, Nick. How's it going? It's going all right, actually. I love the way the new camera looks. This one here, actually. I like that feeling of it. It's got a different lens, so it's way more light and bright, and it gives you this feeling of cinematic figuring. I don't know how you say that. As compared to this one, which the setting on the lens is very different, so it gives you this more I don't know, Neo Tokyo look. They're both cool. They're both cool for sure. Audio is better after the other mic was turned off. Okay, so what happened was I have 2 cameras, and each of them I put a microphone on. And since it's only me talking, I don't think I need 2 microphones, basically. So yeah, okay, cool. Good to know. I'm also figuring out that you can turn on 1 or 2, microphones, and that's kind of cool. So does the camera should display info? Oh yeah. Don't worry. I spent a lot of time figuring that out. Boba Cola, thank you very much for all your advice there. I'm just going to have to keep playing around with it. But funny thing is, new camera. Wait, this guy. Because he doesn't have a dummy battery yet, I had to change the battery while I was still testing before I went live. And that just reset everything, which was really annoying. So it's kind of where we're at now. Yeah, this is it. So let's start. Topic 1. Has Japan changed for the better since the 1990s? It's a good question. Well, I came in 1991, so I was right there at the end of the bubble, but it didn't help me much because the bubble was really just an economic bubble that put Japan in this superpower nation where the Japanese yen was so strong. I remember it being 256 yen, so it's like to the dollar. So if you had Japanese yen, you could go anywhere in the world and you could just basically be rich, which was great for someone like me who only made, my first salary in Japan was 150,000 yen a month, which now is equivalent to 900 US dollars. Yeah, I don't think anyone could survive for 900 US dollars a month. We've got incoming information from behind the scenes stuff staff. Angela, what's going on? Yes. I'm taking all the questions and everything.
So under that topic, there are 6 to 8 questions related to this that are more specific.
Aha. So I should go down and check all each topics.
Oh, the questions.
All the questions.
Yeah.
Yes. This is great. Some say Showa era post-war was better than the Heisei and Reiwa era. Hey, Tomodachis. Yeah, so that's a good one. That's a good one. We're in Reiwa, or Reiwa, as they say in Japan now. And the Heisei and the Showa is, I'd say like 80s. I'm not quite sure when it changed. It changed over at one point. But I feel like if you're like a 70s born child or 80s born child, like me and my wife are, then you would be a perfect example of what the Showa is. So when you do something in the Showa era, like for example, last year when we went to this Showa restaurant, which was called the Showa Shokudo down in Okinawa, it was hilarious. See how slow that camera is focusing? I think I need a new lens for it. Don't worry about it. And it's like the game centers, when you could go in and fight against each other on, Street Fighter from 1995. They had like competitions where they would be like, putting their 100 yen coins on the arcades and stuff like that. And I feel like that was a period in Japan that, because I was also very much younger, it was really interesting to be here. And struggle was different. There was not a lot of money. There was not a lot of anything, actually. There was just me and karate back in those days. But I think that I'm going to look at these topics, and as we're going to go through them one by one, I'll stay live for a little bit. I still have some wine. I might open up some more. It's a good time. The most important thing for me right now is that these cameras seem to be working just fine, and we've got audio, so hallelujah. Here we go. Japan's economic shifts. Is it easier or harder to get a job or find a pathway in Japan than it was 30 years ago? Interesting question. I have no idea. I've never looked for a job. If I had looked for a job, I found it very easily. Actually, my senpai used to say, hey, you should come work with us, make some extra money on the side. And I was like, happy days, because I need to make money. I think the next job that I looked for fell in my lap because I just ended up teaching karate at the dojo, and the sensei asked me, so I didn't even look for that job. I was just basically asked if I wanted to do it, and I was happy to do it. But I do feel that English teaching was a big thing back in the 90s. And I had a lot of friends that were being English teachers, also coming just for studying karate and training at the dojo. And they made a lot of money back then.
K1.
Excuse me?
The first one is the peak of K1 versus TV fighting sports now. What's changed? Is it easier or harder to watch and connect as a fan?
This just in from the studio backsides. I'm supposed to talk about Japan's better or worse since the 90s through K1 and fighting sports. What has changed and easier to watch as a fan? Well, fighting sports has always been a huge thing in Japan. Goes way back to the Rikidozan pro wrestling days back in the 60s, and the post World War II, and pro wrestling became huge in Japan. And then it just always been going on and on and on. There's always been, kickboxing and Muay Thai and wrestling. Lots of wrestling. They love the wrestlers in Japan. Likido-san was probably one of the biggest wrestlers ever, and it's Korean ascent, but he was a huge champion, like filling out stadiums like Tokyo Dome and everything. What has changed from the 90s? Well, so in Japan, there's a fighting mecca called Korakuen, which is right beside Tokyo Dome. It still exists. It's still open. It seats about 2,000 people, and it is fully booked every day of the year. Sometimes it's booked in the mornings, and then it's booked in the afternoon for different events. It goes and hosts anything from amateur boxing to professional boxing to kickboxing to Muay Thai to pro wrestling to Joshi Puroresu, which is the ladies pro wrestling. And so if you want to watch martial arts, there's an abundance of it. I actually once met what they call Chikakakutogi, which is like the underground martial arts people, and they're like, yeah, we still host underground shows. Now, I've never been to one. I've only heard rumors about it, but I've heard rumors about pro wrestling fans going and watching ladies pro wrestling in garages of wealthy people. So people just like buy a ticket on the side, walk in when they know these ladies are going to show up and they wrestle each other. Actually, I would love to do a video about that. I don't think it has become harder or easier to watch martial arts in Japan. Currently, now in Japan, there is a huge fight for the pie of who are the fans and what are they going to watch. For example, we have different various organizations like K1, the one that I used to fight in. Then there's all the karate organizations, which I'm not going to go into depth about right now. But K1 seemed to have been going through this huge success through the 90s and early 2000s where I was fighting, and then it just slowly faded away. Ownership changed, management changed, a lot of things changed over the years. And now, right now, you could see the K1 is, brutally honestly, it is become a very small version of what it used to be. And it's quite sad because the guys like us, we used to fight really hard for the status that it was to be a K1 champion. And now when you see it, it's like, yeah, a very diminished version of itself, hardly struggling to get views and hardly struggling to also keep their fighters. A lot of them are being stolen on one championships. So that's a real issue. One championships came to Japan recently. They recruited Takeru, which was their greatest fighter and also one of K1's greatest fighters. My student Leona Pitas, who fights under my name, still fights. He's going to fight on the 21st of June in a tournament called Knockout, where they do kickboxing rules, but they fight in an octagon. It's kind of interesting. They fought, and yeah, Takeru left and retired recently, and so now he has opened up a new organization, which is kind of cool. Sorry? No, it's great. The abundance of all these different organizations in Japan is like, so if we have to riff them off according to which one are the best ones for fighting to watch right now, I would say K1, not so great, unfortunately. I would like it to be great because it's, clearly what I was a champion. And then you've got an organization called Rise, which is run by Ito Takeshi. Fantastic fighters. We've had Mr. Miyagi from Rise, who was a contender for many years, fight in Senshi a couple of times. He lost both, unfortunately. But it's really good to see that stuff going. And then I think there's All Japan Kickboxing, there's Zen-Nihon Kickboxing, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's the Knockout. And then there's the one that we never talk about, which is called Breaking Down, because that's just street fighting on YouTube. Go ahead and have a look. Breaking Down. It's really horrible, to be honest. It's completely beyond anything that I can explain for what martial arts really is about, which is about honor, respect, and also all the hard training and work that you go through. So, is it hard to connect? I feel like Japan is going through a period in martial arts history where the new fans are connecting more to the silly stuff where they see people rumbling on the streets, basically. And it's really sad for me because I really firmly, truly, and honorably believe that martial arts is something that's done out of respect for two human beings who have trained for decades to get to where they are on that day. So rumbling on the streets is really not my forte. That's as far as I will touch on that topic. So, what's the next topic? Honey?
Oh. Justin from behind the scenes. Next is Japan's economic shifts. Is it easier or harder to get a job or find a pathway in Japan than it was 30 years ago?
Yeah. So we're just rounding back on that one. Is it harder or easier? I think currently in Japan, it might be harder to find a job over here. And it definitely feels like, I'm just talking about generally speaking, how the feeling is of living in Japan and being here while you're seeing the shifts in government going on currently because they are pulling hardcore visa restrictions. From what we see in the media, it looks like people are being sent home. It also looks like people are not able to self-sponsor their visas anymore, which means that people who have lived here for decades can't afford to stay in Japan. And to be honest, it's terrifying all at the same time. It's also like, well, I mean, if you're gonna live in Japan, you might as well, pick up the language and pay your taxes. So I don't think that the government currently is doing something bad. I think that they're very tactical about what they're trying to do here, and I'm not quite sure what it is that they're trying to do. Unfortunately, reality is it's a dwindling population, and Japan proper needs help from overseas to come in and with a workforce, specifically so that everyone can get their pensions paid out eventually. It's already been calculated that people like me, I'm 53, I will not be able to be paid any pensions because there's no workforce to be able to work for it or pay for it. So I think it's a double-edged sword. Is it easier or harder? It's definitely harder to get a really good English teaching job over here now than it was back in the 80s and 90s, for sure, and they don't pay as much. Living standards have gone up, prices go up, everything goes up. The most happy people that are coming to Japan right now, in my opinion, are the tourists, because they're like, wow, everything is so cheap. And that's because the euro, for example, is like 1.8. Like, you almost double your money when you come to Japan. So, happy days, for sure. Next question, please.
What's changed in martial arts over the last 30 years?
That's a good question. Tell you what's changed. They don't train as hard as we did back in my day. They don't. They just want the fame. It's true. They come out, blaze, glory, blaze, gunning, whatever you call it. But they don't willing to put in the work. The work is what will get you to the champion belts. I feel, and that's a tough one, but I have to be honest about it. I feel like the young fighters these days, and I'm not talking about everybody because there are some exceptionally good fighters out there, but they're far apart. I feel like, just generally speaking, the idea of wanting to be a champion and the idea of wanting to be like famous and get, all the recognition from the whole world is awesome. But there's a lot of work that goes into getting there. Now, if you don't have the patience and if you don't have the courage to wake up early in the morning, get your work done when no one else is watching you and no one else is following you, no one else is giving you a click on the likes, then I don't think you deserve to be a champion. There you have it. Also, the biggest problem really is, this is going to hurt if someone's a martial artist out there. This is going to hurt. You guys ain't paying attention to what it is that we, legends, who used to fight professionally, are teaching you. Because we all know that drills pay the bills. Quote, Andy Sauer. He's coming on the show soon. But it's not just the drills. It's being able to take those drills that you practice in real life into the ring, into the fighting, where it all counts. And people don't seem to be able to connect those dots. Unfortunately, there are these knockout bonuses. There are these like fighter of the night that people go and strive for. So they go headhunting sometimes. Headhunting is fine if you actually get that head and you get that knockout. But if you don't get it, what is it going to do for you? You're just going to become a mediocre fighter that's chasing something that are not coming. So take it back a step. Take it back maybe 3 or 4 steps. Realize what are the building blocks and foundations for an actual fighter that actually creates greatness. And that takes a lot of work, a lot of strategy, a lot of planning, and friggin' thousands of hours of training. But the moment you're able to put it all together and you go in there and you beat someone fair and square, either on points or either by way of knockout, oh my God. The feeling of that is literally indescribable. Okay, next question.
Family life. When you look at young parents today, what looks or seems easier versus harder, or more complex versus straightforward than it was 30 years ago, or 27 years?
Family life? When you look at parents today, what kind of parents am I looking at here? That's really the question. I could look and contemplate about our daughters and how they're doing, and none of them have any children of themselves, but then you have siblings that have children. Wow, that's a tough one. I really don't think I can answer that one in depth. I'll pass.
Business culture. Is Japan a good place to run a business? What's changing since you got into the entrepreneur game 10 years ago? 10 plus years ago. What advice would you give to a young business owner just starting out?
Before I go on to that question, I just want to pull out one of the comments here. Hey Nick, new camera looking good. Thank you very much. I'll get better at using it. Don't worry about that. Also, a big example of not working hard to earn it is BJ Penn from UFC. Really? BJ Penn is an extremely talented fighter and a fantastic UFC champion. Did he work hard for it? I don't know. But what I do know is he created some great results, and he's a legend all by himself. Let's not get into BJ Penn too much now. So what advice would I give a business guy starting out in Japan? Oh my God. Have a lot of money. Have a lot of money set aside for stuff that you don't know is going to cost money. Specifically, lawyers and advisors and accountants and taxes. My gosh, the taxes, they keep coming. And I would say either get a really good mentor on business that can really actually help you through the ropes of it. Otherwise, you're going to get screwed over easily. And not because it's Japan, it's just that's business. In business, there's a lot more going on. If you never went to business school and you didn't learn business, like I didn't, it can hit you hard. On a lot of things, and specifically if it's in a language that you don't understand. So, most businesses, not just in Japan, but most businesses around the world, they fail within the first 2 years. They fail because of variable things, stuff like not understanding the tax system, not understanding how the accounting system is, and also because if you're not actually providing an answer for a question that people are looking for, then that's just a natural progression of a business failing. People, generally speaking, want an answer to something in life, and most businesses, they give that answer. Let's talk about a ramen shop, for example. If you're going to do a ramen shop, which is one of the hardest businesses to succeed in Japan because the market is so volatile, if you're going to do ramen, then you better know how to make a good ramen. It could be a tonkotsu broth ramen, or it could be a specific ramen. Like recently, we filmed a vegan ramen, which was extremely hard to pull off, but I mean, they did a good job. Are they going to succeed? Let's see. They've got big plans for their shops, that's for sure. I also think that in business, you have to be passionate. You have to have a very specific, passionate feeling about what it is that you're trying to sell. And personally, when I started my business, which is now have become our business, my wife and I run it together. Actually, she runs it. I just show up when she needs me to. But when I started it in the beginning, it was, for me, personally, one thing that made most sense above all else, and that was to love and cherish everybody who showed up every day at the gym more than anything else in this world. And we're here 14 years later, almost 15 years in business, proving that we still live up to that. Very proud to say that the team, led by my beautiful wife Angela, have a 4.9 record of Google reviews, which is pretty much unheard of. And so thank you everybody for coming in and working out. And if you ever find yourself in Japan, swing by. Let's just do it. Across Fitness, Nishazabu. And that was kind of my rant on that one, Ani.
Okay, next question is on tourism. What are new things people love about Japan versus the classic stuff like anime, Doraemon, samurai, etc.? And what new hot spots are there compared to the classic spots like Kyoto, Nara, Hakone, etc.?
So what are new things
Yeah.
that we should enjoy? Is that the question? Or could enjoy as a tourist?
Well, what are the recent pop cultural stuff that everybody loves versus the old stuff? Like anime Ghibli, that's old. Kyoto is old. People still go there, of course, and people still love that about Japan. But there's got to be new stuff like My Hero Academia. Or
She's a huge fan of My Hero Academia. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one.
it's those fancy food stuff.
It's the fancy food stuff that everyone loves, the cheese pulls, the this, the that. To be honest, I'm not really the biggest on the newest pop-up stuff, culture stuff, whatever you want to call it. I do love myself new things for sure. Maybe I'm a little bit stuck in the world of martial arts and this and that, but they've got some cakes in Japan that I don't know how to explain. But someone figured out how to make a cake look like a suitcase or a shoe or a glove, and how they made that actually into a delicious piece of sweetness, I have no idea. But the Japanese are extremely creative. If I had to talk about the things that I see on Instagram while living in Japan of other people coming to Japan and just going nuts about, I'm like, wow, yes, there's so much out there, but do I have time to get all that? I don't think so. So if you want all the updates on all the newest stuff, I'd just say do some hashtags, Japan trends or Japan trending right now, or I don't know what it is, Japan pop culture, and then figure it out. Or please feel free to send in comments. Let us know what it is that you want me to go out there and film. Just between you and me, I will be wrapping up on my filming on the movie soon, so that means I will be more open to going out and eating junk again. Don't worry. And with that in the background, the chimes are belling in Japan. All over Japan right now, we've got the bells singing out to the people, telling them that it's 5 p.m. in the afternoon and that the children should stop playing in the parks and go home and have dinner and finish their homework before they can go and be productive for another day in school tomorrow. All right, next question, honey.
Do you know of any new hotspot places that are really popular now?
I just saw on Hamada-san, who is the the main guy, chef, whatever you want a guy, on Wagyu Mafia, that his Wagyu burger is ranked #1 in Japan. That could be interesting. It's probably going to cost you about $200, but it's probably also going to be delicious. Clearly, I already texted him privately and said, hey man, can I come film it? Because last time I filmed at his, noodle shop, which was literally $100 for noodles, he was happy and very welcoming. Very nice guy. Also, fantastic ramen, by the way. Yep, what's up? Honey?
Me?
Yeah?
Okay, next subject is the evolution of Japanese society. Just for fun, if the samurai returned today, what would they like or dislike most about Japanese society? Would they join the self-defense force?
The samurai?
Yeah.
Oh. The samurai are like an elite force, a little bit potentially overrated, in my opinion. But they were also very protective of their lords. What would they miss? That's a good one. I don't know. Since I've never actually been a samurai. Pass!
Oh my god. What values like Bushido do you think are still alive and strong in Japan today?
I think there is a very deep-rooted awareness of honor in Japan. There's a code. There's a code amongst warriors. There's a code amongst people here in Japan that is hard to find in other places in the world. I think it comes down to something along the lines in, like, for example, if you have a dispute, and I could go in very specific details here because this is an absolutely awesome story. If you have a dispute with someone and things happen and it gets heated, and then you're like, okay, well, this is not really the best thing that could have happened for anyone here. Instead of going straight to court and suing each other and, ruining each other's lives, they have this ability to talk things out and apologize in a very profound way. I think that is a part of the Japanese culture that I super truly respect and love, and also at the same time find terrifying, because you can get away with a lot just by apologizing. But it is. I mean, it has gone both ways for me. I've apologized for things where I thought, yeah, of course I'll apologize for that if it's easier. And then it's also been like when someone has done something. For example, we had an incident with a person that slapped the phone out of my wife's hand. The phone didn't break, but if it had broken, we would clearly have asked for a new phone. Should have asked for a new phone anyway. Eventually, after the police came, it's like, that's assault. And in an assault case, you would, could potentially just sue them. We didn't, because the cops came over and they looked at me and they go, Peta-san. This means Mr. Pettis. Can we talk about this? And I looked at them and I said, no, we're not going to talk about this. We're not going to just apologize away for this one. We're going to go full on this one. And they looked at me and go, Peta-san, onegaishimasu. Which is the Japanese word for, please, be understanding. And so at the end of the day, at the end of the night, we were very understanding, and everyone walked away and lived happily ever after. It's kind of like the other story that I have, which is hilarious again. I got pulled over by the cops. This is 25 years ago. I was driving my car. It was a Honda. And the guys pulled me over. I rolled down the window. The cop looked at me and goes, oh, gaijin da. Extremely racist right there, by the way. That's like, that should not have been okay. I looked at him and said, that's it. Just give me your badge. Give me a number to call your superior. I'm not taking this. You can't talk to me like that. So I felt really, aggressive about it. And his cop friend goes, yeah, すいません. Yeah, ちょっと待ってください. Again, this is the Bushido way of doing things. Let's talk about it. Turns out, after a couple of minutes of me being all heated and aggressive because I thought I was going to get a ticket for doing something wrong, the guy goes, yeah, we're good. Don't worry about it. But Peta-san, your tail light is out, and that would be a 6-point deduction from your driver's license. We're going to let you go this time, but don't worry about it. As long as you fix it quickly enough, we'll let you slide. Yeah. That is Bushido for you, if I have anything of what modern Bushido is all about. Whew, that was a tough one, though. Anyway, I think I got distracted, so what's the next one?
Okay, third topic is living in Japan for 30 years. What are your biggest culture shocks? So you're going to consider these topics, and you're going to reflect and look back on it from your perspective now, reflecting on your life, and I'm just going to say them out, okay? So the first one is language.
Language. Reflecting on language.
Now, what are your biggest culture shocks?
I think the word that I just used now, like the word like yoroshiku onegai shimasu or onegai shimasu, is like one of those words that you cannot translate directly into English because it doesn't make any sense at all. It's just like, let's just talk about it, or let's just figure shit out. And it shocks me in in both a positive and negative way. It shocks me in the way how they can use it, and it goes so twistedly dark where you go, really? I had to take that? And at the same time, it can protect you in the same beautiful way. So it's a huge cultural shock for me that there are words that exist like that. And then when someone tells me, if I'm translating for them, they go, oh, Nicola-san, あとはよろしくお願いします. That's what I go, I don't know how to say that. It's like, please take care of me. Please be nice to me. I don't know what to do. So there's a thing there, for sure. Well, what was the next one?
Topic of business. What were your biggest culture shocks over the years?
Oh. Culture shocks of business is, honestly, I don't understand the tax system here in Japan. I don't get it. I really don't. It still messes with my head. They tax you, and they tax you, and then they tax you, and then they tell you, yeah, Japanese taxes are cheap, only 20%. It's not true. They take way over 50% if you put it all together. There's income tax, there's land tax, there's other taxes. There's so many different taxes. Like, it just becomes a big tax. And the thing is, if they could just take all the taxes out once a month so that they could give you the money in your account that is your money that no one can touch, that would be much easier. But they send you these bills, and then they come randomly, then there are other bills, and every time I look at it, it says, this is some kind of tax. This is some kind of tax. And it's very confusing, to say the least. It's very confusing. We spend a lot of money on accounting, who, for some infathomable way, make it all possible. And I'm very grateful for that. So, yeah. That's about it. Next one. We're about to wrap this show up, honey.
Restaurants.
What about restaurants?
This is the subject of culture shocks. What were your biggest culture shocks over the last 30 years? Related to restaurants, food?
I think the topic is too big to summarize, but I mean, do I have culture shocks? Okay, I remember the first meal I had in Japan was a miso ramen in Narita Airport. It was like we were waiting for the limousine bus to drive us into Ikebukuro, and I had that, and I was like, oh my gosh, like there's no way I can finish this whole bowl. And if for some reason I thought you had to eat everything just to be polite, which actually turned out to be true, because once I moved into the dorm, if you didn't finish all your food and actually took extra food to make sure that you showed everybody that you were a big eater and you wanted to get big and strong, then they would make you do like 1,000 jumping squats. Yeah, I guess that's like a culture shock. I mean, I had natto, an egg, which is fermented soybeans, and a raw egg, and miso soup, and rice for my first breakfast in Japan. I mean, come on, it doesn't get any more culturally shockable than that, for sure. I absolutely love it now. I eat pretty much natto and raw eggs every day, and it's great. Yes.
Police.
Police?
Well, you kind of talked about it, but did you have any culture shocks related to the police when you were in your first year?
Didn't have a lot of dealings with police for many, many years, to be honest. I think... Wow, that's a good one. I think maybe the first time I actually had a run-in with a cop was when I started riding motorcycles. Yeah. Started riding motorcycles, I think it was because I ran a yellow line, if I remember correctly. Ran a yellow line, which is it's a 2-point deduction from your license, and it's a 6 at the time. It was 6,000 yen fine, and you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to stay in your line. So if you're supposed to be in the line where you turn left, and you don't want to turn left, then if there's a cop that catches you, you better turn left. Otherwise, it's just ridiculous. And so they were very very polite. It's like, oh yes, this is a 2-point deduction from your license, and it's a 6,000 yen fine. Please show me your alien registration card. And so they're super polite about it. And it's like, I'm kind of in a hurry. Anyway, cops have always been super polite in Japan. Actually, also super helpful, and at other times being completely useless. But do I love cops in Japan? Yes, I do. I find them very friendly. I find them very helpful. And if you are in trouble, or if you're, in question about things that you want to know about, directions or anything, they are always going to be helpful. Even if they don't speak English, they will try their best. Not like the cops I met in New York, where I was like, "Oh, excuse me, sir, officer, may I ask you, is there something that I should be aware of while I'm here in New York?" He just looked at me and says, "Take a step back, sir." And I was like, oh, okay. So the good thing about cops in Japan is they're very approachable. And that's really great. Yeah, it's really great. I am going to wrap this live stream up because I feel like it has been very successful in me flipping and flopping around between the cameras. And I love the questions. Wish I had a little bit more time to actually read some of the comments from you guys. But man, it's looking good. I think once I figure out this a little bit better with the microphones and everything, that the lighting can be better, and also what time of day to do these live streams, and also maybe if there has to be like a environment that we have to be more aware of. But the good news is the 2 cameras are looking great, specifically when they're in focus. I just want to get rid of that little square that's in the middle of this thing here. I don't know how. It was gone before I changed batteries, and now it's back. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to keep figuring that stuff out. Do we have any questions or comments that I should address here down below before I let you all go? Sorry?
Comments.
Yeah, read them out, please. Yeah.
How about the NHK folks that knock on your door collecting fees?
That's a good one. That is a good one. The NHK folks that come hunting you down for money for decades and decades while you're here. Well, you're not legally obliged to pay for that money, but also if you live in a place where they can't knock on your door, then you can get away with it. I shall say nothing further.
You're good.
All right. So cultural context in language is always hard to convey. You can only get so far with a contextual translation in words. The understanding behind can only be learned from in-depth immersion. Yes, at Mr. Balrock. Cool name, by the way. This is very true. I feel like also, like, because it's a cultural thing, it's so much easier in Japanese to just say yoroshiku onegaishimasu, and then you just answer hai onegaishimasu, and then you're done, and you've said more than you've not said, and it just emerges into understanding, mutual understanding. Listen up, guys, it has been a fantastic ride. I need to go get my dinner, which is going to be a chicken and natto once again until I finish filming the movie. If you like this kind of content, this is completely random, leave a comment below. If you want me to actually leave it up there so that you guys can come back and watch it later, that's also cool. I don't think I'm going to do this with this one because this was just a live stream, just to test out the cameras. And I'm pretty sure that we'll get better at it, and I'll figure out how to get rid of that little square there. But thank you very much for joining me today. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you in the next one. 3, 2, 1. Wuss!